You're alone for a reason. And I want you to really hear that, because I know how heavy loneliness can feel. I know how brutal silence can sound when you're sitting in a room with just yourself. But let me flip the script for you. Being alone isn't punishment, it's an invitation. It's space being cleared for you to grow into the person you're meant to be. Think about it. The moments in your life when you've made the biggest leaps, when you've finally started listening to your gut, when you've broken free from patterns that didn't serve you. Those didn't happen when the room was full of noise. They happened when it got quiet. They happened when you had nothing but yourself to listen to. You're alone right now because there are lessons you can't learn when you're distracted by everyone else's opinions. You're alone because the universe is telling you, stop outsourcing your worth. Stop waiting for validation and start building a life that feels right for you. This is your reset button. This is your chance to figure out what you actually want without compromise, without apologizing. Don't confuse solitude with rejection. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are being prepared. People will come and go, but your values, your resilience, your vision, that's what's permanent. That's what you carry everywhere you go. So instead of asking, why am I alone? Start asking, what am I supposed to see right now? What strength am I supposed to discover? What dream have I been too afraid to chase until now? That shift in perspective turns loneliness into power. It takes isolation and transforms it into clarity. You're not being left behind. You're being given the gift of space to step into who you were always meant to be. And when you do, when you start living aligned with that truth, the right people, the right opportunities, the right love will meet you where you are. You're alone for a reason, and that reason is to remember just how capable, strong, and unstoppable you already are. You're alone for a reason, and the first thing you have to understand is this: being alone isn't punishment, it's an invitation. Life is clearing space for you, not to break you, but to give you room to grow, to heal, and to reconnect with yourself in a way that you can't when you're constantly surrounded by people, noise, and distractions. I know it doesn't always feel like that. When you're sitting by yourself, scrolling your phone for the 10th time in an hour, or wondering why your friends don't call like they used to, it can feel like you've been abandoned. It can feel like you're missing out, or that you're somehow less than the people who seem to have everything figured out. But let's get real here. That's not what's happening. What's happening is that life is trying to get your attention. It's trying to create a gap big enough so that you stop filling it with the wrong things and start paying attention to the right ones. Think about it. Most of us fill our lives with noise, conversations that don't matter, relationships that aren't healthy, activities that keep us busy but not fulfilled. And then we wonder why we feel restless or unmotivated or disconnected. When you're alone, you don't have that clutter. And yes, that can feel uncomfortable as hell, but that discomfort is exactly what's going to wake you up. Because when you're not distracted, you have no choice but to sit with yourself. And sitting with yourself, really listening to your own voice, your own intuition, your own ideas, that's where growth starts. Being alone is life's way of saying pause, reevaluate, look inward. Maybe you've been running so fast you've forgotten where you're going. Maybe you've been giving so much to everyone else that you've lost sight of what you need. Maybe you've been chasing validation, likes, attention, or approval instead of chasing what lights you up inside. None of that gets corrected when you're surrounded by constant noise. It gets corrected when life strips things away and hands you quiet. So instead of fighting loneliness, what if you leaned into it? What if you stopped treating it like a punishment and started seeing it as the clean slate it really is? When you're alone, you're free. You don't have to compromise. You don't have to fit into someone else's schedule, expectation, or vision of what your life should look like. That blank space is power. It's your chance to write a new story without anyone else holding the pen. And here's something nobody tells you being alone is how you get to know who you really are. Not the version of you that shows up at work, not the version that plays a role in your family, not the version that bends and twists to keep the peace in a relationship. The real you. The messy, curious, passionate, creative, scared, strong human who's been under all those layers. When you're alone, you can't hide from that person. And that's not something to be afraid of. It's something to celebrate. Because when you start listening to that version of yourself, you start to remember what you actually want, what actually matters, and what you're capable of doing. I know some of you are thinking, yeah, but I didn't choose this. I didn't choose to be alone. Maybe someone walked away. Maybe a job ended. Maybe life threw you a curveball you didn't see coming. And I get it. That hurts. But here's the truth. The reason doesn't matter as much as what you do with it. Because even if you didn't choose to be alone, you still get to choose how you use this time. You can either see it as proof that you're not enough, or you can see it as proof that you're being given a window to rebuild, reimagine, and reset. You don't need to wait for someone else to show up to start living the life you want. You don't need a partner, a friend group, or an audience to start making bold moves. You need yourself, your courage, and your willingness to take one small step today toward what matters to you. That's the gift of being alone. It strips away the excuses. It puts you face to face with the only person who has the power to change your life, you. So here's the challenge. Stop labeling your aloneness as a failure. Stop using it as evidence that you're not lovable or not worthy. Start asking, what is this space trying to show me? What is it time for me to see that I've been avoiding? What dream have I buried under the noise? That's how you turn loneliness into an invitation. That's how you transform an empty room into a powerful reset. You're alone for a reason. And that reason is not to make you small. It's to make you strong. It's to clear the deck so you can build something real. It's to hand you the freedom to listen, to decide, to create. This isn't punishment. This is possibility. And the sooner you embrace it, the sooner you'll see that you've been given a gift most people are too busy to recognize. Silence creates breakthroughs. That's the truth most people don't want to hear, because silence can feel so uncomfortable. We're addicted to noise. We wake up and grab our phones before we even brush our teeth, filling our heads with notifications, emails, and other people's opinions. We turn on music, podcasts, TV, anything to avoid quiet. And yet, the exact thing we're running from is where the answers live. The biggest shifts in your life won't come in the middle of a crowded room. They won't happen while you're scrolling endlessly or drowning in conversations that don't mean anything. They happen in those quiet, raw moments when you're alone with your thoughts. That's when you hear the truth. That's when your intuition finally gets a word in. Think about it. Every major invention, every breakthrough idea, every life-changing decision in history, none of that came from noise. It came from solitude. It came from people brave enough to sit with the silence and listen to what was bubbling up inside them. You are no different. You've had moments like that too. Maybe it was sitting in your car after a tough breakup, staring out the window in silence, when it finally hit you what you deserved. Maybe it was lying awake at night, when your brain wouldn't shut off, and an idea popped up that you couldn't ignore. Those moments didn't come because you were surrounded by people. They came because silence made space for the truth to surface. But here's the thing. Silence is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront what you've been avoiding. In the quiet, you hear the doubts you've been pushing down, the dreams you've been ignoring, the anger you've been suppressing. And yes, that can feel scary. But it's also the path to freedom. Because once you face those things, you can do something about them. The silence doesn't just reveal problems, it points you towards solutions. You're not stuck because you don't know what to do. Deep down, you already know. You've just been drowning that knowledge in noise. Silence pulls you back to the truth that you're stronger than you think, that you're capable of more than you've allowed yourself to believe, that the life you want is waiting on the other side of some tough but necessary decisions. That's why being alone is so powerful. It's not the absence of something, it's the presence of clarity. The silence strips away the distractions and puts you in direct contact with yourself. And when you start listening, really listening, you'll be shocked at the ideas, the insights, the courage that comes out of you. The next time you find yourself in silence, don't rush to fill it. Don't grab your phone. Don't call someone just to avoid being alone. Sit with it. Ask yourself, what's coming up right now? What have I been trying not to hear? You might cry. You might feel restless. You might even feel a little lost. But stay with it, because right on the other side of that discomfort is your breakthrough. Silence is where you rediscover yourself. It's where your vision gets clear. It's where your next step reveals itself. It's not emptiness, it's power. And if you're brave enough to lean into it, the silence will give you answers that no amount of noise ever could. Stop outsourcing your worth. This is one of the hardest, but most powerful truths you'll ever accept. So many of us are walking through life like we're contestants in some endless competition, waiting for other people to hold up scorecards and tell us how we're doing. We chase approval from parents, partners, friends, coworkers, strangers online, anyone who will give us a little hit of validation to prove that we're enough. But here's the problem: as long as your worth depends on someone else's opinion, you will never feel secure, because other people's opinions, they change like the weather. And if your value rises and falls with their moods, their attention, their acceptance, you'll always feel like you're on shaky ground. When you're alone, you don't have that constant stream of feedback. And yes, at first, it feels terrifying. The silence can make you panic. If nobody's here to tell me I'm good enough, am I even good enough? But that's the exact point. Being alone forces you to stop outsourcing your worth and start building it from the inside out. You finally realize, wait a second. I don't need anyone else to validate me. I don't need likes or texts or applause. I am enough because I say so. Think about how much energy you've spent trying to keep people happy. How many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no, just to avoid disappointing someone? How many times have you changed your mind, your style, your goals, your boundaries because you were afraid of being judged? That's outsourcing your worth. That's living your life on someone else's terms. And let me tell you, if you keep going down that road, you will never feel fulfilled, because no amount of approval will ever be enough when you haven't approved of yourself first. Being alone is the reset button. It's life cutting through the noise and saying, enough. You need to stop chasing their approval and start claiming your own. When there's no one else around to clap for you, you learn how to clap for yourself. You learn how to look in the mirror and decide you're proud, not because someone else said so, but because you showed up, you worked hard, you honored your values. And here's the kicker. When you stop outsourcing your worth, you stop being controlled. You stop bending over backward for people who don't deserve it. You stop shrinking yourself to fit someone else's comfort zone. You stop apologizing for being who you are. You start making choices that are aligned with your truth, not with someone else's expectations. That's where real freedom comes from. Let me give it to you straight. If you live your life chasing other people's approval, you will always feel behind. You'll always be waiting for them to notice you, waiting for them to choose you, waiting for them to tell you you're enough. And while you're waiting, your own life is passing you by. But the second you decide, I'm done outsourcing my worth, everything changes. Suddenly, you're not waiting, you're moving. You're not hoping they'll accept you. You're choosing yourself unapologetically. Here's a simple exercise. Next time you catch yourself doing something just to get approval, stop and ask, if no one ever noticed this, would I still do it? If the answer is no, you're outsourcing your worth. If the answer is yes, congratulations, you're acting from self-worth. That's the shift. That's the power. Your worth doesn't live in someone else's opinion. It doesn't live in a number on a scale, a job title, a relationship status, or a follower count. Your worth lives inside you, and it has been there since the day you were born. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to beg for it. You don't have to prove it. You only have to claim it. Being alone is your training ground for that. It's uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar, not because you're broken. It's life's way of stripping away the noise so you can finally hear your own voice. And when you start listening to that voice, you'll realize it's been telling you the truth all along. You are already enough. Stop outsourcing your worth. Own it. Live it. Breathe it. Because the moment you do, you'll stop living a life designed for someone else. And you'll start living the life that was always meant for you. Solitude does not equal rejection. That's a lie we tell ourselves when we're hurting. When the room is quiet and no one's texting back, when the relationship ends, when the job is gone, when friends are too busy. Your brain loves to jump straight to the story that you've been abandoned, that you're not good enough, that there's something wrong with you. But let me tell you something right now. Being alone does not mean you've been rejected. It means you're being prepared. Think about how quickly we personalize silence. A slow reply, rejection. A season of fewer invitations, rejection. A partner walking away, rejection. We turn solitude into evidence that we're unworthy. But solitude isn't evidence of rejection. It's evidence of space. It's evidence that life is clearing the clutter and giving you room to grow. You see, rejection is often just redirection. When someone walks out of your life, it's not proof that you're unlovable. It's proof that they weren't meant to walk the rest of the path with you. When an opportunity doesn't pan out, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It means that opportunity wasn't aligned with the future you're building. When the phone doesn't ring as often, it doesn't mean you're forgotten. It means you're being given the quiet you need to hear yourself. But here's the key: solitude only feels like rejection when you resist it. When you fight the quiet, you create suffering. You tell yourself stories about what it must mean, and those stories are cruel. Nobody wants me. I'll always be alone. I must not matter. And the more you repeat them, the more you believe them. But the truth is, solitude isn't a sign that you don't matter. It's a stage in the process of you stepping into the person you're meant to become. Let's reframe it. What if being alone is not rejection, but refinement? What if it's life saying, you need time to build yourself back up? You need space to strengthen your foundation. You need clarity before the next chapter begins. Imagine how differently you'd feel if you saw solitude that way. Instead of loneliness crushing you, it would empower you. You'd stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this preparing me for? Think back to moments in your life when you thought you'd been rejected. That job you didn't get, that relationship that ended, that group you weren't invited into. At the time, it hurt. But later, you could see it. That job wasn't right. That partner wasn't aligned. That group wasn't your people. In hindsight, you can see it wasn't rejection at all. It was protection. It was redirection. It was preparation. So why not trust that the same is true right now? Being alone is not proof you've been discarded. It's proof you're being called to focus inward. It's proof you're being asked to build your confidence from within instead of outsourcing it to other people's approval. It's proof you're being prepared for something better, something more aligned, something that requires a stronger, more self-assured version of you. And here's what's wild. When you start treating solitude as preparation instead of rejection, your energy changes. You stop acting desperate for connection and start radiating self-respect. You stop begging people to stay and start trusting that the right people will arrive when it's time. You stop spiraling in, I'm not enough, and start building habits, goals, and confidence that prove to yourself, I am more than enough. And people feel that. The opportunities feel that. Suddenly, life starts sending you situations that match your strength instead of your fear. So don't confuse solitude with rejection. They're not the same. Rejection says, you're not worthy. Solitude says, you're being prepared. Rejection takes your power away. Solitude hands it back to you. Rejection keeps you stuck in the past. Solitude pulls you into your future. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You're in training. You're building resilience, clarity, and self-worth that nobody can take from you. So the next time you feel the sting of being alone, don't tell yourself it's rejection. Remind yourself this is preparation, and I'm strong enough to step into it. Instead of asking, why am I alone? Start asking, what am I supposed to learn right now? That shift in questions is everything. Most people get stuck in the wrong question. They sit there spinning in circles, convinced there must be something wrong with them, that being alone is proof of failure, proof of rejection, proof that they've been left behind. And the more you ask, why me? The worse you feel, because that question has no useful answer. All it does is trap you in a story of victimhood. But the second you change the question, you change the game. When you ask, what am I supposed to see here? Your brain stops obsessing over the past and starts searching for meaning in the present. Instead of spiraling in self-pity, you open the door to growth. Instead of waiting for someone to rescue you, you start rescuing yourself. That's the power of the questions you ask yourself. Your brain is like Google. It's always going to search for an answer. If you type in, why am I not good enough? It will pull up 100 reasons to convince you you're failing. But if you type in, what lesson is life teaching me right now? Your brain will dig for answers that empower you. Same brain, different question, completely different outcome. So what might life be trying to show you in this season of solitude? Maybe it's teaching you to slow down. Maybe it's teaching you that you've ignored your own needs for too long. Maybe it's giving you the space to rediscover passions you've buried under responsibility. Maybe it's showing you the importance of boundaries, that not everyone deserves access to your energy. Or maybe it's simply teaching you how to be comfortable in your own skin without needing anyone else to fill the silence. Asking, what am I supposed to learn? Flips the script. Suddenly, solitude is not punishment. It's a classroom. And every uncomfortable moment becomes a lesson. The nights that feel empty teach you how to sit with your feelings instead of numbing them. The days when no one calls remind you to call yourself out, to take action instead of waiting. The times you wish someone was there force you to realize you're already enough company. Think about it like this. Life is always teaching you something. The problem is, most of us are too busy complaining to notice. We miss the lesson because we're stuck in the wrong question. We're asking, why did this happen? Instead of, what can I take from this? And that's why we repeat the same patterns over and over. But when you shift the question, you break the cycle. You finally start pulling wisdom out of the pain, instead of just suffering through it. Here's the truth. Solitude is one of the most powerful teachers you'll ever have. It strips away the noise so you can finally hear your own voice. But you only get the lesson if you're willing to ask better questions. And sometimes the answer you get won't be comfortable. Sometimes the lesson will be that you've been settling in relationships. Sometimes it will be that you've ignored your intuition. Sometimes it will be that you've been running from your own potential. But guess what? That's not bad news. That's clarity. And clarity is the first step to change. The beautiful part is that once you get into the habit of asking better questions, you realize you're not powerless. You're not just alone in the dark. You're in the middle of a process. And when you know that, solitude stops feeling heavy and starts feeling purposeful. You're not wasting time. You're preparing. You're learning. You're becoming. So the next time you catch yourself asking, "Why am I alone?" Stop. Interrupt that thought. Replace it with, "What is this teaching me? What strength am I building right now? What dream is life finally giving me space to pursue?" That's how you shift loneliness into power. That's how you take control of the story. Life isn't asking you to have all the answers. It's asking you to ask the right questions. And the right question in this moment isn't, "Why me?" It's, "What now?" Because the moment you ask that, you step out of the past and into your future. Once you grow into your true self, the right people, the right opportunities, the right love will meet you where you are. That's the heart of this key, and it's something most people don't believe until they've lived it. Because when you're alone, it's easy to think you've been forgotten, left behind, or that life is passing you by. But what's really happening is alignment. Solitude is the preparation stage, and when you use it wisely, when you build yourself, strengthen your confidence, and live in alignment with who you actually are, you stop chasing what isn't meant for you, and you start attracting what is. Here's the reality. So many of us settle for crumbs because we don't believe we deserve the feast. We bend ourselves out of shape trying to fit into jobs that don't excite us, relationships that don't fulfill us, friendships that drain us. We chase what's available instead of what's aligned. And then we wonder why we feel empty, why we're restless, why things don't stick. It's because deep down, we're not living in integrity with our true selves. We're living as a watered down version of ourselves, hoping someone else will finally complete the picture. But solitude changes that. Being alone strips away the distractions. It gives you a mirror and says, "Look, who are you really? What do you want honestly? What do you deserve truly?" And when you start answering those questions, when you stop outsourcing your worth and start building your own foundation, you become magnetic. You stop begging for attention and start commanding respect. You stop chasing love and start embodying it. You stop waiting for opportunities and start creating momentum. And that energy, it attracts exactly what belongs in your life. Think about it. When you're unclear, insecure, or living out of alignment, what do you attract? Chaos, drama, situations that mirror your own confusion. But when you know who you are, when you walk with clarity and confidence, you attract people and opportunities that match that vibration. It's not magic. It's just how life works. You stop saying yes to things that drain you. So naturally, only the things that fit remain. You stop entertaining people who don't respect you. So naturally, only the ones who do will stick around. That's why being alone is not a curse. It's preparation. It's your training ground for alignment. You're being given the space to heal the parts of you that once settled, to build habits that support your dreams, to clarify what kind of love and work you actually want. Because here's the truth. If you're not aligned with yourself, you won't recognize what's right for you when it shows up. You'll push away the healthy partner because they feel too boring compared to the drama you're used to. You'll ignore the right opportunity because it feels intimidating to finally step into your potential. You'll sabotage the friendships that are real because you haven't learned to trust stability. But once you've done the work in solitude, once you've grown into yourself, you'll see things differently. The partner who truly respects you will feel safe, not dull. The opportunity that challenges you will feel exciting, not overwhelming. The friendships that nourish you will feel grounding, not suffocating. You'll recognize what's right because you'll finally be right with yourself. So here's what I want you to understand. You don't have to chase what's meant for you. You only have to align with yourself. The right people, the right love, the right opportunities, they will meet you where you are. But they can't meet you if you're lost in someone else's version of your life. They can't meet you if you're playing small or pretending to be someone you're not. They can only meet the real you. And solitude is how you get back to that real you. This is why the season of being alone is so important. It's not wasted time. It's foundational time. It's the season where you become the version of yourself who can handle what's coming. And when that season ends, you'll look back and realize it was the most important work you ever did. Because without it, you would have missed the things that were truly meant for you. So stop seeing solitude as emptiness. See it as preparation. Stop worrying about when the right people or opportunities will show up. Focus instead on becoming the kind of person who can recognize and receive them when they do. Trust that alignment always leads to connection. Trust that what's meant for you won't pass you by. It will find you when you're ready. Because the truth is, you're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're being aligned. And once you grow into your true self, the things you've been waiting for, the love, the opportunities, the community, they won't just meet you. They'll feel like they were there all along, waiting for you to finally arrive.